voluntarily submit your certificate to the committee. You are not obliged to do so, but for the sake of probity and for the sake of the public interest in the matter, I would urge you to do so.
Mr. Speaker, we should not be wasting our time here.
No, I'm not encouraging any debate on this issue.
I want to help.
No, thank you for your help. You know, I am guided here, as I'm sure all of you are. If you know, the public will easily point fingers at us as an institution and say we are living in a glass house and we're throwing stones. To avoid that, if you know you have one, voluntarily submit it. That's all I'm saying. If you know you do, to the committee we've set up.
Yeah,
no, just copies.
Mr. Speaker, I'm not debating. It's just important one I want to say. We want to know whether the members of the select committee have done that, because they last
They
time
will be writing to you. That's how I started my announcement. They will be writing to you.
they need to bring forward their own qualifications.
They
before.
are going to do that as well.
Mr. Speaker, please.
Mr. Speaker, exactly. We have a long day to debate. A lot of MPs want to debate. Like the Speaker said, let us not open debate on this issue. Let's wait for the debate. He said voluntarily. So if you have, you can support. No, please, let's do that.
That issue is closed. Shall we proceed with the day's business, please?
Motion of thanks to His Excellency the President Julius Maada Bio. Proposer, Honorable Matthew S. Numa. Seconder, Honorable Ishmael Samasandi. Be it resolved that we, the members of Parliament here assembled, wish to thank His Excellency the President for the address he so graciously delivered on the occasion of the state opening of the 5th session of the 5th Parliament of the Second Republic of Sierra Leone in the Chamber of Parliament on Tuesday, 10th May 2022, second allotted day.
Honorable members, I wish to draw your attention to SO 38-1, SO 38-1, 38-3, 43-10. Bear in mind that although there is no time restriction, yet in the interest of equity, I have a duty to try to accommodate as many members of Parliament as we possibly can. What is on? Sorry, I'm missing something. Huh?
Somebody was saying all, A-L-L, instead of
Huh?
somebody was saying all.
Instead of.
You had on. Because when you said you want many of them to debate, so one of them
said all of them.
No, I said as many. I want to accommodate as many as we possibly can within the time allotted. If we can accommodate all, so be it. But I don't see how that is humanly possible. So we start this morning by giving the floor to the honorable member from Karine District, my home district.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, I rise to lend my voice to the debate on the presidential address for the second allotted day. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, I have gone through the speech and I find it well written, except that the ideas have not been set properly because His Excellency wanted to kill two birds with one stone. In the first place, he wanted to present a summary of his activities, his team's activity for the year 2021, and at the same time, being the fifth address, he wanted also to include all the performance through the 4 years. And because of this, you find that topics do recall, which is understandable. And I think we notice it. But I followed the debate for the first allotted day, a heated debate, and you can hear the voices from the other side, voices from our side, and there was the third voice of the people affected outside of this hall who were expecting to hear something good. And here we see the difference between, for us in the House, we see the difference between rhetoric and reality. The document is very beautiful. The achievements are clearly put. They are related to the manifesto, His Excellency's manifesto. But when you look at the situation, the reality, there's nothing to lend credit to what has been written. And the people outside, those people, the illiterate people, those people who look from day to day to get their daily bread, they are the actual judges of the content of the speech. And so when you go out of this honorable house and you see the hardship in the faces of people, you see the price of fuel, you see the continuous darkness, you see the lack of water, you see the difficulties at accessing health facilities, then you have a problem as to what to say, how much you give credit to this speech. And it's not easy for the people outside. We can understand that it's a global, the present situation economically is a global problem. But every country has its own way of looking at this problem. And this is why we find the difficulties, the hardship created by, call it COVID, call it Ukraine-Russia war. The effect is different from country to country. Every country must have a country-specific solution to this problem. That's why prices continue to rise here, and our people are left to fight it out. In other places, as prices increase, so salaries increase, so that the cost of living, the buying power, is maintained. All over the world, that's what happens. When you have inflation, inflation is everywhere, but the way it bites one country is different from the other. and it's because of the things government put in place to cushion the effect of inflation. But these are just general statements. I'll come to this topic. And so we look at the areas of interest highlighted by His Excellency, and one of such areas is education. We thank His Excellency for the work he has done in infrastructural development as far as schools are concerned. I think that we must say. But if we go over to the aspect of quality, which is ongoing, quality cannot be attained one day, and I told you, you don't take offense. Quality is not attained one day. It grows, it evolves in a system. And I must say that in the area of teacher management, conditions of service for teachers, it's a topical issue. And I'm surprised that His Excellency did not touch on it when he gave his address, because it's important. Much needs to be done in this area. Another area is the issue of fake certificates. It may be, we may think it's a small thing, but this is a topic that will continue to come up, because everybody has realized the value of education in terms of assessing employment. And it's not today. I have no problem with that. My certificate, my degree is confirmed. Dr. Aliu, Professor Aliu Kamara of Injala was one of my examiners. So don't worry. I'm not Dominion. If I doubt your qualification, I mean. In the area of fake qualifications, this is an area that will continue to recall, because we have discovered, please listen, we have discovered this country has known the value of certificates in terms of employment. And we can trace the problem right in the administration of examinations. The fraudulent things done in the administration of exams is a result of the urge to get a qualification that will give you an advantage in terms of employment. And so this is a carryover. And this is not a topic that we can shy from. It's a topic that we must handle headlong, because it's going to continue. When the possibility to get an employment is totally dependent on a certificate, then people will do everything to get a certificate to put themselves at a position of advantage. This is just general, take it or leave it. So it's important, and I was surprised that the president, topical as the issue was, did not make mention of it. But I also want to talk about the radical inclusion, which is also a very good initiative from His Excellency. Allowing pregnant girls to continue school while they are still in that situation. I think to include everybody is a good thing. But I also ask that we have to go a step further. What about the married girls? But we are fighting against early marriage. So what are you doing if you girls are not marrying? We are fighting against early marriage. So we should make, within the framework of the radical inclusion, we should also think if there is a possibility to allow the married girls to go to school. But above all, every year we fight to get funds to fund the free education. It's time. Free education is not something that just comes today and goes away. Free education is here for everybody and forever. And it's high time we thought about finding some sustainable means of funding free education. We can't afford every year to go cap in hand, begging from one donor to another to fund the budget on free education. We have to find a sustainable means within the budget which would assure us that year in and year out, this aspect is sure to be. But I also want to come home because I'm from Karina district, and I want to thank His Excellency. He paid a 3-day visit, walking visit, to my district. We were not invited, but we went along, and he accepted us. He accepted us, and we moved with him through very hard-to-reach areas, at points where he had to come down and his security had to push the vehicle to get out of the difficulty. That was quite something. And I thought I admired him for that. And when he came back, he made promises to us. For us in Kainen, each time there is a speech given from the throne, each time a budget is read, 2 things we listen for: the completion of the road from Makeni to Kamakwe, which is already half done, and the concreting of the 2 ferries out of the 9 ferry crossings in the Karina district. And we had good promises. We had promises about re-graveling the 4 trunk roads converging into the town of Kamakwe. We had promises about renovating or concreting 15 kilometers of road, township roads. And we had promises of a technical college. And I came very much impressed. And as I speak, none of this has been done. And yesterday, in this time, I saw also that the president is planning, to include 15 township roads in the next budget. Wow. That wouldn't even know. And we don't have time. So I was a bit disappointed that none of the promises that were made us fulfilled. But we thank His Excellency. We thank His Excellency because we have a lot of concern. For an example, we have the Utamba Kilini National Park Reservation, which was started many, many years ago, to which foreigners used to go. In fact, there are bungalows there where foreigners stayed, tourists stayed, to just enjoy the view of monkeys and hippos in the rivers. Each year a speech is given. I listen to hear as we talk about touristic attractions. I have listened 4 times, 5 times as to hear if government is going to take up this project. And today the project is abandoned. Abandoned to poachers, abandoned to illicit miners, abandoned to loggers and all sorts of people. And the few forest guards sent there are actually colluding with the people to poach meat from the reservation. I don't know if at the moment I would appeal to His Excellency to consider, but considering that the time is gone, I would say go in peace. Go in peace, Your Excellency. The next government will take up this project. I thank you.
I thank the honorable member for his contribution to the debate.
Dr. Mike.
I now give the floor to. Can I have your.
Hello. Honorable Joseph Bash Kamara
Bashkama?
of constituency 084.
There are two Bashes in the house. Huh? Honorable member, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Hello. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes?
I beg.
You don't need to address him. Address the speaker. Speaker should give him order, not you.
Don't be touching. Mama, use your
I will give him permission to speak from the next mic because his is not working.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for according me the privilege of adding my voice of credence and facilitation to His Excellency for his fine submission and hard work to improve the lives of the people of the Republic of Sierra Leone. Before I digress, I wish to make a recap of the submission of our dear doctor, yet to be declared whether Dominion or Reach.
Hold on a minute. Hold on a minute. Honorable members, the rule is that you must speak from your seat that has been allotted to you. Now, because of the exigencies of the situation, if the mic allotted, the mic of your seat does not work, I will permit you to use the next available mic, if it works.
Mr. Speaker.
I'm back to my seat, comfortably standing to make my submission. Thank you very much. As I was saying, before starting my debate proper, I just wanted to reflect on some of the things that our learned Dominion doctor has made. Firstly, I would like to commend him for being sincere enough to say that the president's submission was accurate and well written. And he also went on to acknowledge the fact that we have found ourselves in an era of global pandemic. And he also reiterated the fact that solutions to addressing the global pandemic varies from one situation to another. Those are three premises that he laid. I want to appeal to this House to clearly understand that whatever submission I'm making here is one that is focusing on comparing 11 years range of economic prosperity to 4 years regime of ailing economy. I repeat, we are comparing what should have been done to what is being done from the point of a growing, fastest growing economy to an ailing economy that we erupted. For the past 4 years, progressively, His Excellency has been cataloging his plans, his activities, achievements, and what is pending to transform this nation, with little imagination that his work will be disrupted at a certain point in time. But that notwithstanding, he courageously worked to maintain political stability. His Excellency worked assiduously to maintain political stability in this country amidst all temptations by people of this nation that are against the prosperity of this nation. As a first step, we could all remember that he came in to harness the ability, the potentials, and the knowledge of all Sierra Leoneans so that they can map a way forward to ensuring peace and prosperity in this nation. The Bintumani Conference was summoned, and well-meaning Sierra Leoneans were in attendance. Ill-meaning Sierra Leoneans boycotted the peace initiative, a foundation that we would have laid for us to move forward in this country. Honorable members, I am telling you that what I'm saying here is not going to be based on rhetorics. I am dwelling on the realities that you are yearning for, not to work properly so that you can make ill political gains. Honorable members, His Excellency has committed himself to economic prosperity. He has committed himself to investment in human capacity development. That one catalog in the various attempts he has made in the educational sector, in the health sector, to mention but a few. As I said earlier, honorable members, in the midst of all this global turmoil, His Excellency has come up with sound economic policies to turn around the situation. But as I earlier said, I am not dwelling on these economic policies, but going down to contemporary issues that my people I represent from the village can better understand and leave the policy issues to the doctors. Honorable members, at this point in time, no one would have imagined that Sierra Leone would be sailing comfortably. Honorable members, I will refer you to the economic strategy that the government used to cushion the effect of the global pandemic. In the first place, I want you to understand that His Excellency the President has to set aside 500 billion euros to cushion the effect of the global pandemic. Your learned doctor there said that the effect of the global pandemic is being taken care of in various perspectives from country to country. In Sierra Leone, I want you to know that the strategy that the government used in this era of global disturbances to stabilize the economy, to provide essential goods and services in this country for our life to remain intact, is the provision of 5 billion euros. 500 billion euros. And these 500 billion euros were used to support the production, the importation, and the distribution of essential items that all of us seated here and beyond are benefiting from. At this point in time, some of you were expecting that we would have shortage of essential commodities in the market. No rice, no fuel, no everything. But it's amazing for you that in this circumstance, the society is moving. In spite of all these challenges, we have enough rice in the market, we have fear, we have chaos, you understand? And for this, you need to commend His Excellency for not driving us to any moment of austerity. You can remember that you described the Sierra Leone economy during the 5 years regime as the fastest growing economy. It was 11 years, the fastest growing economy. But how did the economy, the growth of the economy reflect on the country? Today, it's shocking and surprising for you to start crying that there is no rice, there is no electricity. If you have justly, wisely, and judiciously used the money that was accrued by the government during the time of the economic growth to address the problem of electricity, to address food security, to do road networks. At this point, Sierra Leone will be thinking of something else to do so that the country can continue to grow. My question, honorable members, is where did you take the economic prosperity that you enjoyed during the time of the economic growth? In your personal pockets? That's the question for another day. Honorable members, you see, since the beginning of this debate, you have always been emphasizing on the word SO2. Now who start them? Now who start them? Now who start them? If you keep planning a program and not implementing it to finish, means you are not a good planner. No wonder we are able to uproot you and you are sitting on the other side. Honorable members, we are a very responsible government. His Excellency is running a responsible government where he has embarked on completing projects you could not complete, initiating new projects, and are completing it for the good of the country. That is the development trajectory you must emulate. Honorable members, I agree to some extent when you say now we start. Yes. SO2, now we start foreclose all the areas where they produce rice in this country. Now we start for import rice from China. Now we start for cut off the railway so that we begin buy buses and go into transportation. You started several things but could not conclude. The SNPP government of His Excellency is a government of implementation. It's a government that progresses in all activities that they undertake. It's a government that talks whatever they are doing. It is but very unfortunate when Dr. Kagbo, Honorable Dr. Kagbo, was saying that most of the things that were highlighted are not reflecting on the lives of the people. That is unfortunate. Yes, I'll tell you where the reflection is. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, I beg to move to the other agenda in the area of education. Education here is basically emphasizing on the needs to develop the human capacity development. For God's sake, His Excellency the President has spent so much money on education that all of you here are beneficiaries of. But for God's sake, you could not even say thank you. Can't you praise Him for the school fees? Has He not paid school fees for your wards? Has He not paid examination fees for your wards? Has He not constructed new buildings and rehabilitated older ones? Poloko is a case in point. Honorable for Poloko, thank you very much for thanking His Excellency for the school he provided. Honorable members, and there is one critical area that has been affecting the development of the nation. This is a very serious concern. When I was in the NGO world, I keep repeating here, I was in the TechVote consortium with other international organizations. In the TechVote consortium, our greatest challenge was how do we capacitate the middle level manpower, skills of our country? How do we add value to the educational sector of the middle level? Because there was no TechVote desk in the Ministry of Education. We tried it. Yes, there has to be a structure to work through. But we are not serious about TechVote institution. And the middle level manpower can be well catered for by the TechVote opportunities. As I'm speaking to you, honorable members, as a progressive political party, as a progressive leader, he has identified the gaps in the educational sector and has embraced to add value, quality to the TechVote institution of the Republic of Sierra Leone. Honorable members, more access to technical vocation has been provided for all of you. From Karine, Podloko, Koinajugu, we are going to make provision to capture. We are going to make provision to capture all your young ones that could not go to tertiary institutions so that they can become skillful and be able to contribute to the development of the nation. Honorable members, I move to the other sector. I am zooming through the speech, the health sector. Hey, my brothers, it is disheartening.
Mr. Speaker, point of order. Mr. Speaker, point of order.
The reason being that some of the interruptions are not undertones, but the mere making us not to listen to our colleagues. So it will happen on the other side if we want to listen, because some of us have to wrap up at the end of the day. So you can make your undertones, but such interjections are not undertones. So we just want to draw your attention. So I plead, like, when I'm speaking and you're talking, I say point of order. What type of house are we running? No, but I'm talking. You are the speaker. I gave you the quotation.
Mr. Speaker. No, Mr. Speaker,
Mr. Speaker, I stood on point of order, and I am talking. Let me come.
Honorable members.
Mr. Speaker, can I land? I have.
Honorable members.
It's a point of order I raised, and I raised concern.
Leader of government business.
Thank you, sir.
You actually preempted me by just a split second.
Thank you.
Because I had opened my.
There should be conference on that too.
I'm coming.
Okay.
Let me remind the House again. Undertones are permissible. Undertones are permissible, but let us be clear about what is permissible and what is not. 35(4). During a sitting, all members shall be silent or shall confer only in undertones. 35(5). Members shall not make unseemly interruptions while any member is speaking. Please be guided by your SOs. It's not new. It is here. I did not ask you to tell me whether it's new or not.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable members, we don't have to be misinforming the nation. Honorable Bashkama is speaking to reality. What you feel, you see, and touch. I am saying that health facilities have been provided nationwide. It may not be adequate,
Point of order
but we are.
Mr. Speaker, nobody in this House is above the law, and I believe you are the presiding officer in the chamber. You own this chamber. So if you are raising concerns and somebody is making unseemly, you understand, unparliamentary behavior putting up, we raise it with you, Mr. Speaker. We don't want to go into areas where we like to go to the Privileges Committee. We don't want to do that. But this is your chamber. So we are talking to you. Let members confine themselves. My members confine themselves. I'm looking at you directly, Honorable AKK. So allow me to speak. I'm your leader, please. No, allow me to speak. Nobody is threatening you. Allow us to, Mr. Point of order. We ask you own this chamber, Mr. Speaker. I have raised this concern with you because you own this chamber. You have the right to ask member out. The last parliament, the last speaker did it. So Honorable Basiru Siliki, with Honorable Param Tarawali. Thank you very much.
Mr. Speaker, hold
on. Is there any member in this House present who does not want to be respected? Second question, is there any member who would love to be interrupted when he is speaking? Answer again. Then please respect yourselves so that others will respect you. A word for the wise. A word for the wise is more than sufficient. Is more than sufficient. The honorable member from Gambia, when I gave you the floor the other day, I protected you, and you spoke lengthily for as long as you liked. And if I remember rightly, you were interrupted only through undertones, but not undertones that became overtones. Okay? So please reciprocate the respect that was given to you whilst you were speaking, whilst others are now speaking. You've done a lot.
Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, please, Mr. Speaker, hear me on this, please.
No.
For the sake of, please hear me on this. Mr. Speaker, please hear me.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
On what? Hear you on what?
Please, Mr. Speaker.
On what?
On this matter, Mr. Speaker, there is something going on. There is something going on, Mr. Speaker. If it continues this way, there will be a time you may not be able to control all of us. Because if our leader is speaking, then an MP on the other side is targeting him directly. It's something you cannot. You have established a fight that you cannot contain at the end of the day, Mr. Speaker.
Why did you do that? Hold on. Why did you do that? Why did you have to amplify the thing?
Mr. Speaker, it's a important issue. He's our leader. He's our leader of government business.
He's our leader.
No, wait. No. Mr. Speaker, in the event any member on this side decide to replicate such, I wonder what will happen. Some of us, we are within our share based on certain reasons, Mr. Speaker. But this is becoming very unusual now.
Mr. Speaker, let me just buttress what the two members have just said. What they are saying, Mr. Speaker, is that, Mr. Speaker,
you know what?
What they are saying.
The leader of government business.
What they are saying.
I'm coming. The leader of government business is a man of infinite capacity, and he has expressed his position very, very clearly, and I have buttressed his position very, very clearly too. So I don't want it amplified over and over again. I think I'm capable of maintaining decorum in this house. I have asked two questions. Who is here that does not like to be respected? So respect yourselves whilst others are speaking. Carry on.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. There's an old adage that says, the old man feel uneasy when dry bones are mentioned. Honorable Bauchi Kamara is speaking to realities and not speaking philosophy, what you see and feel. Honorable members, as I said, health facilities have been reasonably provided across the nation, and structures have been put in place to address emergencies. You have seen it proven at the control of the COVID. These are all structures. You go to the government hospitals, you will see work in progress. Work, if you had done, would not be engaging in at the time of economic prosperity. I keep repeating. Honorable members, in conclusion, to let you understand and accept the fact that much has been done in the educational sector by His Excellency, I beg to read that maternal and child mortality rate have been lowered and malaria-related death reduced by over 47%. That in itself speaks to all efforts that have been done in the health sector. I know you see it, you feel it, but don't want to talk about it. The only thing I will say is, outside the well of Parliament when we meet, all of you jubilate at these successes we are making. But I don't know what changes the tempo when you are in the well. Honorable members, I want to go to the area of infrastructure. To better the lives of Sierra Leoneans, His Excellency has very seriously embarked on completing or building structures for our good. Many infrastructural works that were left undone have been completed, and we are at the verge of also completing the ones that we have started. And in record, we have done more infrastructural work in these 4 years compared to that of your 11 years of economic prosperity in this nation. Honorable members, I want to catalog few. The Freetown to Maishaka Road, you will say you started it. Yes, you started it and finished with the toll gate. You started and finished with the toll gate. You finished the toll gate and not the road, because the toll gate was going to give you immediate returns. We have completed that road and you are enjoying it. The Bo Bandajuma, go to Bo now. For some of you that are privileged and may want to go to Liberia, go to Bo now. From Bo you can get to Monrovia in the next 4 hours. That is our work. It's worth commending us for what His Excellency is doing, honorable members. I am talking to practicalities, realities on the ground, pointers on the ground. I'll tell you from Boyamba Junction to Boyamba, that also has been done. You cannot contest it in any way. Pembebu to Kailau, that one has been done. And also completed more bridges than ever in the 4 years history of this country. Bridges, linkages, you know, bridges, build linkages. We want to access communities that used to supply urban areas with food items that we are not perishing for because of high transportation costs and difficulties of traveling. Just be patient with us. The SLPP government is an architect of development. Honorable members, by the end of 2023, besides the bridges that we have built, maybe I give you the names of some of the bridges we have built. I'm going to start from my community, the Lombre Bridge. We built the Lombre Bridge. Is it a lie? Southern Street Bridge. We built that bridge. Is it a lie? Gondama Bridge. We built it. Bandajuma Bridge. We have built it. And you go to Zimi. We have also built several bridges, several linkages. The Shenge Bridge. And the greatest assurance I'm giving you is by 2023, His Excellency, the great commander of the Republic of Sierra Leone, is going to transform all your local traditional historic ferries into concrete bridges. Honorable members, is that not a good initiative to improve your lives? We are going to build the Tambaka Bridge, the Tambaka Ferry. Sometime I went to the north and I saw the Tambaka Ferry, people suffering there. I said, oh, His Excellency is going to deliver that from you. Honorable members, be comfortable. We are going to work so much that we have little to do to keep you permanently on that side. Honorable members, I go to the area of electricity. These are the indicators of development. These are the indicators of a growing country. We have embarked as a government on all these things with the good leadership of His Excellency, so that you can smile and stay comfortable in your communities. Some 11 years ago, Sierra Leone was almost like a dark continent, with almost all our main cities, almost all our main cities and towns in darkness. Kenema in darkness, Second City Bo in darkness. 4 years down the line, Sierra Leone is being gradually and systematically lighted. I know the honorable members from my Shaka will bear testimony to that. If you want to deny me, go to my Shaka after 6. You will enjoy the beauty of the electricity, the ambience of the electricity my Shaka is enjoying. If you move to my Shaka, go to my 91. Honorable area will tell you the ambience the people enjoy at my 91. You go to my toy. You go to several places. Are you not seeing the reality of this development His Excellency is carrying out? Honorable members, we took an oath in this house. Honorable members, we took an oath in this house. Sometimes we have to be sincere with what we say. We have to be sincere. We have to be thankful. It is in the Quran, it's in the Bible to be thankful. But you guys, you honorable members, sorry, are not appreciating the realities of what you are enjoying. It's sinful. It's sinful. Even the good leadership of His Excellency is helping. Honorable Daniel Kuruma. For decades he has been struggling to build a bridge in Koinadugu. Today, the government is giving me a supporting hand to complete that bridge. We are a government of infrastructure. Honorable members, thank you very much, Koinadugu. I want to thank Honorable for the good initiative he started, and today we are complimenting our effort to provide the people of Koinadugu a concrete bridge that will improve on their lives. Honorable members, Indeed. Honorable Daniel Kroma, I know you are happy. I went to Kwanadugu and the people are jubilating. You know, we are providing electricity to energize their life to start drinking cold water and access DSTV all over Sierra Leone. You give us a moment. You see what we have to do. Mongo is being recalled to life. Honorable Mara, you can testify to that. Development, as was earlier addressed by Dr. Kabo, is a progress. It's a progressive. There are certain things you cannot see. Yes, if honorable members cannot see what His Excellency has done, they cannot applaud Honorable Bashkamara for speaking of the things that Honorable has done. Honorable members, Sierra Leone is a grateful nation. Sierra Leone is a grateful nation. I don't want you as I represent your people to inject in them the wrong blood of not being in position to say thank you for things that are rightly done. Podloko district has so much benefited. We have so much built the capacity of Podloko district as a government. We have provided facilities for Podloko district. You know, His Excellency is a very friendly leader. I can remember some time ago, if you are sincere and really love your countryman, you can give to your brother what you have in excess. Some time ago, Podloko was starving. Lunge was starving of electricity supply. And in our good reason, we decided to go to Makeni.
Point of order, Mr. Speaker.
We asked Makeni. We said, Makeni, we are all Sierra Leoneans. Makeni, give us one generator so that we can improve the lives of people in Lunge. It became a crisis. Is that brotherhood?
What's your point of order?
And we are
SO 34, Mr. Speaker.
Point of order, Mr. Speaker.
SO 34, Mr. Speaker. Mr.
Yes.
Speaker, I'm the member of parliament representing Lunge.
Yeah.
The honorable member is saying Lunge was starved of electricity. I want to substantiate here unhesitatingly that during APC, we used to have electricity from 1 p.m. to 8 a.m. in the morning. 18 hours electricity for day. But during this government, for the past 1 month, we have not had electricity.
Thank you very much. Mr. Speaker, the honorable member there is very right. But the question is, if it was not a cosmetic electricity that was provided by the then government, how can it run out in just 4 years? That's the question. And Mr. Speaker, we have evidence in record that the people
have you standing while the member is speaking, please.
Yes.
Take your
Mr. Speaker,
I was on the point of order, Mr. Speaker. With regards to the rules, in our last sitting, you ruled that whenever a member is on the floor, if the point of order has been raised by another member, the member on the floor should be willing to accept before the member rising on the point of order should go ahead goes ahead to speak. But he didn't do that in the case of honorable, the case of the honorable from Lunge.
Well, I don't know where you were.
I was here, and I think it was on that particular issue that
you were here, but it is my eyes that matter, not yours. I noticed that the honorable member had raised his point of order. He yielded to the point of order. When he finished speaking, he sat down before he replied.
Mr. Speaker, you didn't ask him if he was willing to yield.
Take your seat.
You didn't ask him.
Take your seat.
yeah. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. You see, the honorable member raised a very serious point that they had uninterrupted electricity. But uninterrupted electricity, to cry for electricity after 11 years, was it a sustainable agenda? No, certainly not. And besides, we have on record the theft cases of electric appliances, generators that were vandalized in your constituency. Your people vandalized the electricity that was provided. The councillor, this is another menace in society. You know, I pity, when you are making some of these utterances, it makes us saddened. Because while we are making frantic effort, His Excellency is traveling to beg for funding, to come and improve your lives. Your constituents are persistently damaging these facilities that we are providing. Is that nation building? Mr. Speaker, we have to start appealing to our fellow members of parliament to talk to their constituents to preserve, to maintain the things that we are giving them. Let politics don't make you destroy what others should enjoy from. Honorable members, at this point, His Excellency concluded on a very serious note. He did say that he cannot do it alone, but with sincere commitment and cooperation of all. On behalf of my constituency and the people of Sierra Leone, I want to appeal to our colleagues on that side to help us preserve the facilities, the services, and all other support that we are giving them so that we can enjoy a better nation. I thank you very much.
I thank the honorable member for his contribution to the debate. I now give the floor to the Honorable Sir Francis Bendu from Kono.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, honorable members. I want to thank His Excellency very much for his speech, well delivered on that date. I want to start my submission from where he ended, that he wants us to work together in the interest of this country. And that is where I am coming from. We are representing a very small party, wedged between two giant political parties in this house. But we are very much clear of the fact that we are opposition members. So I want the ruling party member MPs to take our submissions in very good faith, because we are going to identify some challenges as His Excellency presented. And don't forget, he did ask us to work in consonance. So whenever things are wrong, we have to say them. When they are good, we also say them. When they are bad, we say them, and then we also suggest solutions. If you adhere to the solutions, I believe we will make a headway. I want to start with page 3, paragraph 10, where His Excellency states that 500 billion special credit facility was provided by the Bank of Sierra Leone to support production, importation, and distribution of essential commodities, which was a very good initiative. Very, very, very good initiative, looking at the economic situation the country is faced, looking at the current situation we have. It was a very good plan. But the concern I have is the institutions that were selected by the Bank of Sierra Leone to carry out this function. Mr. Speaker, you will be shocked to know that BRAC, that we all know, it used to be, or it is, a microcredit institution that over the period have been giving a loan to our women at the interest rate between 20 to 25% on a weekly basis. I have not seen BRAC participated in bringing in essential commodities to this country. Why the Bank of Sierra Leone select BRAC to be part of that team? What is the method they use to select the institutions? Or tell me if proper monitoring was not done. Because when we talk about essential commodities, I listened to the honorable member. Yes, indeed, we have fuel. At least the provision of these funds was able to provide enough fuel, even though the cost is high.
Mr. Speaker, point of order. Mr. Speaker, I just want to clarify an issue here. There is a difference between the 500 billion that was provided to Mbakosri and the Munafa Fund. What is he referring to now concerning BRAC is the Munafa Fund. So let us distinguish that. Thank you.
Mr. Leader, I am not talking about the Munafa funds. I am talking about the 500 billion credit facility that was provided. The credit funds that was the COVID fund that was provided by the Bank of Sierra Leone.
Point of order, Mr. Speaker, the 500 billion was to give to business people to import essential commodities, not to give credit.
I agree with you, Mr. Leader.
BRAC is only there to give credit to people, to business people, not to bring essential commodities.
Mr. Speaker,
thank you.
Hold on. As I understand the honorable member, he is not questioning the provision of the 500 billion by government for the importation and distribution of essential commodities. What he is questioning is the selection of those who benefited from that fund. It's a totally different thing.
Mr. Speaker,
I think I want to listen to him.
No.
I want to listen to him.
Mr.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
The election was done by the Bank of
The point
Sierra Leone.
that the home is BRAC has no qualification to get that money because BRAC is an institution to lend money outside people.
You are in fact now supporting his point.
Speaker, I'm not supporting it.
Well, let's allow him.
Thank you. We will. Just want to make that clarification.
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much. I think I'm very clear. I was asking the method they use to select BRAC.
Did you hear him now?
I am very much clear, and all of us here are very much aware that BRAC is not in any way involved in bringing in essential goods. BRAC usually provide microcredit support to women at the interest rate ranging between 20 to 25% on a weekly basis. So, to my greatest dismay, and that was discovered in this house by the committee.
Mr. Speaker, point of order.
I will not allow your point of order to disrupt the member. You've made your point of order. Allow him to land.
Mr. Speaker, BRAC is just one institution. There are so many other institutions that benefited from that facility that are not supposed to benefit from that facility, Mr. Speaker. If we're talking about pushing the economic challenge of the people, we look at people that are relevant in bringing in essential goods to support the needs of our people. We cannot allow BRAC to benefit from that facility at the expense of our people, Mr. Speaker. Because at the end of the day, they are giving out this money as loan to our people at the interest rate of between 20 to 25%, which is not in the best interest of this country, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I also want to look at page 3, paragraph 11. That has to do with the facilitates the movement of agricultural produce, other goods and persons, part payment of which for the rehabilitation of 1,835 kilometer trunk roads nationwide has been paid over the period of time, Mr. Speaker. I am coming from a deprived community, a hard-to-reach area. The contracts for those roadworks are not awarded within the time frame that is in the best interest of this country. They normally award those contracts in the rainy season. And if you give a contract to do a roadwork during the rains, what is the impact that will benefit the people? At the end of the day, there is no proper monitoring. At the end of the day, the roads are not properly done. And by the time you know, the roads are bad again. My recommendation, Mr. Speaker, is that next time when they want to give out these funds, they should wait in the dry season. And when they give these funds, they do proper monitoring to make sure that these works are done. Because what we find out, every year they are working on the same trunk road. And this is not also in the best interest of this country, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, honorable member, page 5, paragraph 17 on education, which is the way forward. I am impressed. I admire when His Excellency presents on that day that he gave scholarship to a student, an outstanding student from Wallo Catholic Mission. But my question, Mr. Speaker, what is happening to our government schools? Why government schools are not producing outstanding students where government can also be boastful of? Mr. Speaker, are we MPs confident enough to send our children to these free quality education schools? If we cannot, Mr. Speaker, for several reasons, I will also highlight. Number one, Mr. Speaker, when we talk about free education, it will give access to so many children to attend. And the challenge that we also pose is the accommodation. The classrooms will be overcrowded. At the end of the day, before the time when we were going to school, when we were boys or kids, Mr. Speaker, we used to be between 35 and 40 in classroom. But now you will see in one classroom over 100 pupils. So the teacher will be teaching, one teacher will be teaching, and the kids will be playing with their phones. Apart from that, Mr. Speaker, the community I am coming from, if you see a qualified teacher, is either a headmaster. All the other teachers are not qualified. So why do we expect quality from an unqualified teachers? Mr. Speaker, we suggested to this house the last time that the best that we could do is to make teaching institutions free across the country, to have more teachers, enter into agreement with those teachers to offer services after their graduation, to acquire the quality that we all yearn for in this country. Mr. Speaker, early this morning you were talking about this Dominion business. The result of Dominion, Mr. Speaker, all emanate from these unqualified and untrained teachers. Mr. Speaker, the untrained and unqualified teachers in schools, because they are not paid by government, they end up to run the schools as a business. Instead of providing the quality, they end up to do business. That is why, Mr. Speaker, the massive failure in public exams. Mr. Speaker, it will also surprise you to note that now the invigilators of public exams are no longer teachers, but Sierra Leone police, the ACC staff, to some extent military officers. Mr. Speaker, in the village that I am coming from, when you take a policeman into a classroom to invigilate a student, they will be frightened. At the end of the day, they will not perform very well. And what is the cause of that, Mr. Speaker, is the lack of trust the government have for the teachers. And why is the lack of trust? Because teachers are not qualified to deliver. Mr. Speaker, I think, and in my suggestion, what the government should do, Mr. Speaker, the government needs to construct more infrastructure to accommodate the overcrowded classes. Of course, His Excellency has promised that, and I hope the ministry responsible for that will make sure that it comes to pass. Mr. Speaker, the government also needs to open up teacher training institutions. They should be made free to at least have more teachers. And those teachers should be accredited. They should have them enrolled, pin-coded, so that they'll be able to offer quality teaching to our children. Mr. Speaker, because of the lack of trust, I've said that the government needs to train...
Honorable Member.
Mr. Speaker.
I do not actually mean to interrupt you, but I just want to take notice. Do we have the MDAs represented today? They're here. Would you kindly just identify your MDA briefly? Let's know where you come from.
From the Financial Intelligence Unit, David Cobalt, my name is Director.
Good. Next, please.
Deputy Director of Corporate and Industrial Affairs,
NATCOM. EDSA. Fire Force. Please, let's listen. Thank you. Who else? Okay, what about this side? Anyone? Parliament. Gallery. Why are you in the gallery? Come down here. Where you? But introduce yourselves there first, and then make your way downstairs, please. Good. Fine. You are most welcome, and please make your way downstairs. Yes? ONS, please make your way downstairs. There is enough room here. Anyone else? Ministry, make your way down, please. Anyone from education? Where is it? Carry on, Honorable.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, the government need to train and qualify teachers and then trust them to handle our public exam as it used to be in our days. Mr. Speaker, the other challenge we have also is the late delivery of learning and teaching materials to the various communities. Mr. Speaker, most times the materials will arrive during the next term. The first term material will only arrive in the next term, in the second term of the school year. Which, Mr. Speaker, by the time the materials arrived, the school year is almost coming to an end. Which also, yes, I am talking about my community, Mr. Speaker. I think also the government needs to put some effort into that, the ministry, particularly whenever these materials are sent down to the districts, they should follow up and make sure that those materials arrived within the communities as early before the opening of schools. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, of recent we are all aware about the strike, the sit-down strike of our teachers, demanding for an increment in their monthly salary. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, I think government also needs to look into that, because if you want quality out of someone, you have to make sure that that person is happy. If that is not the case, Mr. Speaker, we'll find it very difficult to handle what we want. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, having gone through the speech well delivered by His Excellency, the President, I only noticed in one paragraph where he mentioned disability issue that they are working on improving the current act. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, all of us seated there can be easy customers to disability at any time, any hour. Even with this parliament, Mr. Speaker, sometimes I feel so bad when I see the children of our brother. They are trying to usher him in into this chamber for sitting. Mr. Speaker, people living with disability are also Sierra Leoneans. And when you talk about inclusion, these are the sector of people that you must consider. And there should be a provision during the last financial appropriation. There was a clause in that budget.
Sorry, Mr. Speaker, point of order. Mr. Speaker, for an honourable member to say don't damage President Bio, I think that is very serious. I'm asking that he withdraw that statement. That's not undertone. If it were undertone, I wouldn't hear it. No, Mr. Speaker, I'm very serious about that. I mean, you need to tell us how President Bio is damaged. These are very serious statements, Mr. Speaker. I need to treat very seriously. You cannot sit in the oil and say somebody has damaged President Bio. That needs to be clarified. No. If he has said they have damaged President Bio's speech, is different. When they say they have damaged President Bio, it is unacceptable, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable member, thank God our dispensation in this country is still democratic. Carry on,
if it's democratic.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, honorable members, I was talking about the funds that was provided by this government through NACSA to support persons living with disability.
I have not given you the floor anymore. Please carry on.
Mr. Speaker, there was a particular fund provided to NACSA to support disabled people economically. During the first financial debate, I requested that we should have a detailed information of beneficiaries. It never happens.
Beneficiaries of what?
Of the funds NACSA used to provide to persons living with disability. But it is not there. And Mr. Speaker, if anywhere we should take disability issue, very importantly, start from this house. Mr. Speaker, of recent there was a rehabilitation done on this house. I thought there would be a provision, at least to give access to persons living with disability to this chamber.
No, we are trying. That one, you will have noticed the walkway, the ramp, that was designed specifically to cater for people with disability. There is also a lift under construction.
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much. I saw the ramp, but I am talking about the access to the chamber.
Incidentally, when you talk about people with disability in this house, I happen to be a member.
Very well, Mr. Speaker.
Carry on.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I saw the ramp actually outside, but I am talking about the access to the well. Mr. Speaker, very soon, the persons living with disability will
The main mic the standing mic seems to be working now.
They are not working.
Sorry. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, like I was saying, the access to the main chambers is not disabled friendly. And very soon, Mr. Speaker, the persons living with disabilities will also come up requesting this house to give them safe seats. Because they are part of Sierra Leone, Mr. Speaker. If you go to Ghana, this is what they are doing. If you go to Kenya, this is what they are doing. The Kenya model. I think when we are talking about international best practice, These are countries that we need to follow suit, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable
Mr. Speaker, honorable members.
Honorable member,
Yes, sir.
work is ongoing to make the House disability friendly as much as possible.
I agree with you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you very much. Mr. Speaker, I want us to look at page 2, paragraph 7. This one is very important, Mr. Speaker. And I want to read, sir. Page 2, paragraph 7. Said, with the conduct of the first ever digital national census, the 2021 midterm population and housing census, my government will henceforth. Well, Mr. Speaker, you studied at Cambridge. I don't know what the English word henceforth means. But for my locality, from now going forward, Mr. Speaker. So if His Excellency is referring to a midterm census data that we are not privy to, he is referring to this particular thing to say, from this very day, he presented this thing, he's going to base his development on that. Mr. Speaker, where is the data?
Good question.
Yes, sir.
Good question. Carry on.
Mr. Speaker, we have not seen the data. And now can we ascertain the credibility of the data without seeing the data? Mr. Speaker, I am very much scared of section 38 as amended in 2001 as amended, Mr. Speaker. If you look at this particular clause against that particular section, it is very possible, Mr. Speaker, that very soon they are going to introduce a district block system which does not seek the best interest of these people of this country. Mr. Speaker, when we talk about democracy, democracy is a government of the people, for the people and by the people. The constituency election will give opportunity to the constituent to have access, dialogue, to interface with their representatives. Mr. Speaker, the time the district block system was introduced in this country, my member of parliament was all the way from Gandon, very close to my member of parliament, the member of parliament responsible for my constituency. That is over 50 miles away, Mr. Speaker. From the time he was elected to this house to the time his tenure ended, I've never set my eye on him. And Mr. Speaker, when you talk about district block system, it benefits more the political parties. It is not in the best interest of the youth. It is not in the best interest of hard-working MPs. No matter what you do, Mr. Speaker, the decision is being taken by the political parties. And if we are talking about democracy, how do you expect a man that a political party give a symbol to come to this house and speak true and speak facts to the face of the party that gave him symbol? So at the end of the day, they will be representing their political party, not the people. Mr. Speaker, our democracy is far above going backward. If what my insinuations are, Mr. Speaker, I don't think this house needs to support that. Even the ruling SLPP party members, it is not in their best interest. Mr. Speaker, it is very possible.
Point of order.
Mr. Speaker, it is very possible.
Point of order, sir.
Mr. Speaker.
Let me listen to the point of order.
Mr. Speaker, the honorable member has just indicted the SLPP on his side.
I'm sorry, he has not indicted.
No, he should not mention the SLPP in his debate.
No, it's a matter of opinion.
No, but the opinion should be clarified, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
No, it is simply
Mr. Speaker.
his opinion.
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much. Mr. Speaker, thank you very much. I am very careful of the word I speak. I have rights to my opinion. I said my insinuations. I am on the speech, my brother. I said based on what I have read, what my insinuations are. I have right to my opinion. I said it is not in your best interest because it is very possible at the end of the elections they are going to present the face of the party, not you. So it is very possible a very good friend of His Excellency will come one day and he said he wants Mother Leby's, Honorable Mother Leby's seats, and they will give it to him. What is going to happen to our brother? Mr. Speaker, with all what he has been doing over the years in this house, Mr. Speaker, democracy has to be respected. And the voice of the people must be respected, Mr. Speaker.
I don't know what asks you, but the man is expressing his opinion. And listen to him.
And I have right to my opinion, Mr. Speaker.
When he's done, listen, when he's done and your time comes, counter his opinion with yours. It's as simple as that. That is the art of good debating. Carry on.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for protecting me. Mr. Speaker, when we talk about democracy, democracy is the voice of the people. It should be a government that listens to the voice of the people, and we are the representative of the people. Mr. Speaker, constituency election is the best democracy that we are practicing. Because at the end of the day, you go back to your constituency, tell the people how you represented them.
It is still a matter of opinion.
Very well, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you.
And my opinion should be at least accepted. Not by force, Mr. Speaker, but to some extent, because there are some facts. Mr. Speaker, I don't want the Deputy Chief Whip to take your attention, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to talk about water. Over the years, over the period from the beginning of our term, they promises us that they will give us water. In fact, after the elections, we saw people that came to do feasibility studies. After the feasibility study, Mr. Speaker, as we speak, nothing has happened. I want the government to think about Konobi Street. Konobi Street is a city.
Mr. Speaker.
It is a district.
Sorry.
That also deserve.
Sorry, please. Mr. Speaker, the time is 12. I therefore move the SO5 to be suspended.
I support his motion, Mr. Speaker. I second it, Mr. Speaker.
I don't know, but my own clock tells me differently. Okay, we have to go by the clock that is hanging there, but it is not necessarily correct. But be that as it may, you've already moved. And it has already been seconded.
Yes, sir, Mr. Speaker.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those against say nay. The ayes have it.
Mr. Speaker, I was talking about water facility in the city. I think greater consideration should be given to it. Konobi Street, Kwedu City is a city that also deserves to benefit from whatever benefits others are benefiting, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, we are very much happy about the university, the Kono University of Science and Technology. We want to talk to those responsible to fast track the process of the university.
Deputy Leader.
As you know, we used to say we want to fix the historical injustice that has been happening to Kono District. So therefore, Mr. Speaker, the school authorities, the education authorities are here. I think they need to fast track the issue of the university in Kono District. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, I will not end up if I didn't talk about the light facility in Kono District. Mr. Speaker, as we speak right now, Kono is the darkest city in Sierra Leone. Our problem is not because of generator. We have a very good working generator, Mr. Speaker. Our problem is fuel. When you go to the powerhouse, those working at the powerhouse, they will tell you we don't have fuel. But whenever there is a visit of high profile, there will be light 24 hours. Mr. Speaker, if the energy minister or representative is here, they should know about this. It is very possible, Mr. Speaker, that they are sending fuel, but they are mismanaging it. So there should be proper monitoring to at least allow the people of Kono District to benefit from what the government has provided them. Mr. Speaker, as I round up, I want to thank His Excellency very much for his speech well delivered. And as the Speaker, His Excellency concluded, Mr. Speaker, on that day, he said we should work in consonance. We should take corrections in good faith. And if we are enabled now, Mr. Speaker, the best friend of the opposition should have, the ruling party should be us. Because we identify challenges and we tell them, if they build on those challenges, there will be a good government. There will be a good governance. And the people of this country will vote you in again. But if you fail to listen to what we are telling you, and we are the voice of the people, what we feel, you don't feel them. Where we go, you don't go there. The people we touch, you don't touch them. What we feel, we come and tell you. If you listen to them, it will be in the best interest of all of us. Because I think we all want Sierra Leone to be a better place where we can live, and our future, the future generation coming after us, will also benefit from what we left behind. I thank you, Mr. Speaker. I thank His Excellency. I thank all of us. Thank you very much, and God bless you.
I thank the honorable member for his contribution to the debate. And I want to thank all honorable members. I think you are responding and speaking to the standing orders. Although you had the usual undertones, you allowed the speaker to proceed. That's the art of good debating.
Oh, you forced it on. It's here.
Some of you remind me of our days.
Naya. Naya. So go resume, then they don't talk.
I will not respond because you are sitting down when you made that statement. And I'll give the floor to you know, there's one thing you are going to learn about this speaker. He cannot be intimidated. I can see intimidation from a distance when I see one. And I'll give the floor to the honorable member from the western area, H.E. Vincent, Honorable Vincent. Don't tell me how to run my show.
Mr. Speaker, may I be heard? Mr. Speaker, we will definitely not tell you how to run the show because we don't have that authority. But we believe on fair play and the rules of the game. We are even in number in this house. So the practice has been when they have one bite, we should also have one bite, Mr. Speaker.
Make that judgment at the end of the day, not in the middle of
it. Mr. One, I can make it now, Mr.
No,
Speaker.
no, you not.
1-1.
No, sir.
Mr.
Make
Speaker.
it at the end of the day.
Mr. Speaker.
Not now.
Mr. Speaker, if you give them 2, it is not 1-1. It will be 2.
Make that judgment at the
1-1
end
is
of the
not
day.
2-0, Mr. Speaker.
Make that judgment at the end of the day.
Mr. Speaker, after this point in time, you'll be going for lunch.
Make
I know
that judgment at the end of the day.
Mr.
Leader of the
Speaker, it will be
opposition. The day has not ended
No,
yet.
Mr. Speaker, it seems as if you don't.
Honorable member from Western.
Thank you very much,
Mr. Speaker,
Mr. Speaker.
may I be
Mr.
heard?
Speaker, honorable members.
Mr. Speaker, may I be heard?
So long as you don't attempt to dictate to Mr.
I will
Speaker.
not. I will not, Mr. Speaker. I will
Well,
not.
you're about to.
May I be heard, Mr. Speaker, please?
I will hear you.
Thank you very much, sir. Mr. Speaker, you know for a fact that after this honorable member will be going for lunch.
I don't know that for a
I
fact.
know, and you know, Mr. Speaker.
I don't.
And you know when we come back from lunch, you know the way this house will look. So the strategy itself is calculated and it is deliberate for the records.
Mr. Speaker, the honorable member, the leader of the opposition, was the deputy speaker in this house. He used to be the deputy speaker of this house. And he used to sit on
And I am more than fair.
He used to sit on
I am more than
that chair.
fair. No, I am more than fair.
No, he used to be the deputy speaker.
I am exceedingly
And he
fair.
knows exactly how he used to run this parliament. He knows exactly.
Fine. So long as you acknowledge that comparison.
That is why I was calling
Well
you.
and good. You have the floor.
Do I want you to continue to be fair, Mr. Speaker?
Exceedingly fair.
Mr. The leader, the deputy leader knows exactly what he's doing. I was very, very fair when I was presiding.
Mr. Speaker, honorable members, let me first and foremost thank God for just such a special day, for the lives of members of parliament and the people of this country. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, indeed, we are here saying thanks to His Excellency the President. But Mr. Speaker, I want to go further to say, it's not only giving thanks to Mr. President, but we should further say, God bless you, Mr. President. We should further say, Mr. President, indeed you have worked for the people of this country and you have met with your manifesto promise. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, let me take you to page 7. Page 7, paragraph 30. Health. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, I want to draw your attention to the document that was presented by His Excellency, former President Ernest Bai Koroma, in his manifesto. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, he promised this country a free health care. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, and during the free health care, it was a flagship program. But it was unfortunate, Mr. Speaker, that when you get to the hospitals,
Mr. Speaker, if the honorable member is quoting from a speech that was read by the ex-Vice President, let him quote the relevant section or the relevant page and the relevant paragraph.
Thank you very much. I'll give you.
For the sake of record purposes.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, I'll give you, and I have the documents here. I have the speech. Not to you. I have the manifesto here. I'll give it to you. Yeah, Mr. Speaker, here's the manifesto. Healthcare. President Ernest Bai Koroma has initiated a free healthcare policy for lactating mothers, pregnant women, and children under 5. The infant mortality rate for 2007 was 158 deaths per 1,000. Mr. Speaker, it's really unfortunate that during the tenure
Mr. Speaker, point of order, please. Mr. Speaker, point of order. Point of order, Mr. Speaker. I want to challenge the honourable member that is not reading from the manifesto, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable Speaker,
That's all, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, honorable members, I've given the document to the Senate at time so that he can take it to you, Mr. Speaker, so that you can look at it that I'm reading directly.
I hope you've opened the relevant chapter. And
yes, Mr. Speaker, it is there, right? Just give him exactly what is open. Health, Mr. Speaker.
For the edification of the House, I will read the relevant passage again.
Agenda for Prosperity, the title of the document.
2012 elections, the APC manifesto, 1st November 2012, with the photograph of the former president.
So for the records of the House, I concede, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, honorable members.
No, carry on.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, we are well equipped for members of the opposition because some of us are not from Dominion. We make sure we do the relevant research. We do the relevant research and present the relevant document, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, during this free health care that was a flagship program, you can attest, Mr. Speaker, that only Panadol was available in the government hospitals. Only Panadol was available in these government hospitals. And Mr. Speaker, let me give you the records from the WHO. From WHO, let me give you the records. Under the infant mortality rate for 2016, Mr. Speaker, it was 87,314 under the regime of the APC. And in 2017, it was 84.043 WHO. Mr. Speaker, this government so serious under the leadership of Blessed Mother Bio. In 2021, Mr. Speaker, from the 87,314 that the APC left it, we have now dropped it to 74.386. I think this government is a serious government, Mr. President. That to show how serious His Excellency takes his manifesto promise, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, let me now zoom into something different, Mr. Speaker. The issue of education. The issue of education, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, education is a flagship of this government, and His Excellency Blessed Bio has worked tremendously to see how best education could take a different level in this country. Evidences of such, Mr. Speaker, will all attest to the fact that during the days of the opposition, the APC, the WAS examination that is now going on, that we having sanity. You will see sanity in the WAS examination. During the days of the housewide APC, you will observe, Mr. Speaker, that the questions are out 2 days or 3 days before the examination. Leakages were everywhere, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, as of now, you will notice that the examination is strictly conducted. And now you will see that we do not have the last result. They are complaining, people are complaining that groups did not pass the examination. The reason because the leakages were not there. Because there is sanity and control. there is sanity and control on the examination now. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, when you talk about education in this country, in the history of Sierra Leone, in the history of the NPSC examination, this is the very first time, Mr. Speaker, that the NPSC, the Becker result, is out before the reopening of schools. In former days, Mr. Speaker, SS1 kids only go to school second term because their results are always out late. Either examiners have not given results, Mr. Speaker, either examiners failed to mark, or there are strikes or what not, one reason or the other. But Mr. Speaker, as at now, you will see under the serious and dynamic leadership of HE, the results are out and parents are able to prepare their kids, shop for their kids, so that they will be able to meet the curriculum commencing from the first day of the first term of the academic year. I think we ought to commend His Excellency. We ought to commend His Excellency for such amount of seriousness. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, I think we ought to commend His Excellency when it comes to the issue of electricity, energy. I refer you, Mr. Speaker. I refer you to page 16, Mr. Speaker. I refer you to page 16, Mr. Speaker, and we shall leave, Mr. Speaker, I'll read. My government has worked, paragraph 72. My government has worked with partners and the private sector to extend solar mini-grids and thus provided electricity right across the country to places that have never had electricity. Mr. Speaker, underline the word, to places that had never had electricity. Mr. Speaker, 11 years of rule, 11 years of austerity, Mr. Speaker, they were not able to light these places, but under blessed Bio, Fadugu, Mange, Madina, Maishaka. Mr. Speaker, take note. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, please take note. Mr. Speaker, please take note.
Mr. Speaker,
Maishaka, Wokupu in the north.
Point of order, sir.
Mr. Speaker, honorable members, I further refer you to paragraph 73. Paragraph 73, my government has also completed the construction of 6 solar PV systems at government hospitals.
I have a point of order. Yes.
Mr. Speaker, point of order, sir. Mr. Speaker, I heard the honorable member saying that Fadugu is now enjoying electricity. I'm just from Fadugu, and the honorable member is trying to mislead the nation. How can he say that Fadugu is now enjoying electricity when he has never and ever been to Fadugu? So let him withdraw now. Thank you.
Mr. Speaker, I think the honorable member did not get me clear. I said Feredugu, Mange, Feredugu, Mange, Madina, Maisheka, Wokupu in the north.
Member, unless I'm hard of hearing, but what I heard was Fadugu. You may have mispronounced Feredugu.
Mr. Speaker, honorable members, I refer to the page, and I believe the honorable member had the document with him, Mr. Speaker. The honorable member has the document with him. I referenced the page, Mr. Speaker.
That's it, Mr.
Yes,
Speaker.
you did, but you mispronounced the name of the town.
I told your key, Mr. Speaker.
It's Foredugu.
I told your key, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you.
As a page reference.
Mr. Speaker, honorable members, I refer you again to page 17, paragraph 73. My government has also completed construction of 6 solar PV systems at government hospital. Mr. Speaker, coming to the issue of health, you see how serious blessed Bio is when it comes to the issue of health. Mr. Speaker, these places Take in particular Port Loco. Port Loco, Mr. Speaker, the government hospital there was without lights over the years. Over the years, no light. But this government has been able to bring lights.
Point of order, Mr. Speaker. I am the Honorable from Port Loco Central. I am the host of the hospital that the Honorable Member is referring to. And mind you, Honorable Member, we have the Bankasuka hydroelectricity. Exactly. So, you telling us that that hospital, was without electricity. It's not correct, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, Honorable Member, Mr. Speaker, Honorable Member, Mr. Speaker, Honorable Member, I want the Honorable Member to note that I studied at the Port Loco Teachers College. And Mr. Speaker, I lived in Port Loco for several years.
Say no more. Let me just remind the young member of parliament that Port Loco happens to be along the route that I traverse every weekend. And there are moments when, you perfectly know, electricity is in short supply. Carry on.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, you will see that at the end of the day, His Excellency is very serious and in discharging or distributing the natural resources. He does it across the entire country, regardless of tribe, regardless of region. Because if you look, Mr. Speaker, you will see that here, this electricity issue, he concentrated in Port Loco, Kabala, Moyamba, Pujao, and Kailau across, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, I believe the MP for Maishaka is here. That community has been suffering without lights for over decades. But under the leadership of Blessed Bio, right, Maishaka can now boast of electricity. I think they must be able to, they must thank him. We must be here to say thank you, thank you, thank you, Blessed Bio, for saving this nation. Mr. Speaker, under the issue of electricity, Mr. Speaker, honorable members, with all the strides this government has made towards electricity, we still have people who thought the best thing they can do is to sabotage the system. And Mr. Speaker, sabotaging the system is not sabotaging HEBO, it's sabotaging Sierra Leone. Mr. Speaker, look at the rates. At a particular time, the issue was brought before this chamber, the issue of cutting down the transmission cables. Mr. Speaker, they are destroying because people want to make political struggles, destroying the trunks, destroying the electricity cables because they want to make political struggles. Mr. Speaker, I think we must make it very clear here. Mr. Speaker, we must make it very clear here. There are evidence, Mr. Speaker, of a sitting councillor, a sitting councillor in Lunge that was arrested with cables, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Point of order.
Mr. Speaker, a sitting councillor in Lunge that was arrested.
Point of order, Mr. Speaker.
He's on the run.
What is your point of
order? On the run.
34, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, go
ahead.
ahead.
The councillor is referring to is one of my councillors. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, that allegation against the councillor was unfounded, was fallacious. The councillor they are referring to is on the road. It is on record.
Who made that ruling?
Sir?
Who made that ruling that it was fallacious, unfounded?
It is the police. The police were interviewed. Why is he on the road? What happened, Mr. Can I be heard, Mr. Speaker?
Hearsay.
No, the police. It's on record. The police were interviewed on the radio station. Why is he on the road? What happened was that the councillor, the community called the councillor because they were stealing these solar lights. In fact, they were not functional at the time. They were stealing the solar lights. So the community decided to remove the solar lights and keep it. In fact, the solar lights were removed in the absence of the councillor. It was the chief imam, the town chief, and the youth leader, who is SLPP, that called the councillor and handed over the things to the councillor. They were the police. The police said it. Let me tell you, Mr. Speaker, the councillor is a degree holder. The councillor was to go and read his master's in Cyprus. I have the police clearance.
I have with me the police clearance that they issued to him to go and study in Cyprus. Election from me, Mr. Speaker. In fact, when this by-election, there was supposed to be a by-election in that ward. What NEC did, NEC had earlier said the councillor ran away and they were going to conduct a by-election. But when we sent in our candidate for that very by-election, NEC again wrote a letter that they have not investigated the matter and they needed to investigate the matter before the seat will be left vacant. So meaning they have not concluded their investigation. So to me, that councillor is a fine gentleman who has developed that work. He has bought solar lights for that work. He has built, he has even fenced. He fenced the community center. He has provided a lot of facility for that very work. So all they are saying is fallacious. It's fallacious. It's fallacious.
Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, honorable members,
Mr. Speaker,
I would not reply to the honorable member from Pudloko. All I will say to him, why the guilties are always afraid. Why did he abscond? That I will leave with him to answer later. Mr. Speaker, honorable members,
he didn't abscond.
Mr. Speaker, honorable members,
the police, I have the police clearance issued to him to go and study in Cyprus. In the clearance, the police stated it very clearly that he is to go and study in Cyprus. His number is in the clearance and it is authentic. So if the police could issue him a clearance to go and study in Cyprus, I wonder why the allegations are coming.
Honorable member, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, honorable members, we are hearing for the first time this information from the honorable from Lungi. For the first time as Sierra Leoneans and as members of parliament.
You are hearing, but the public knows this.
And the public is...
The public knows what I am saying, Mr. Leader.
Honorable, you have tried very hard to exonerate the councillor. You have tried very hard. You have tried very hard. It is a public secret. It is a public secret that a councillor from Lungi was arrested for the theft.
He was never arrested. He was never arrested. In fact, let me tell you, Mr. Leader, you don't know what happened. The allegations you are saying are not correct. He was never arrested. He was. We are in the public domain. Let's tell the public what happened. The councillor in question has never been arrested. He was never arrested.
Hold on. After me, you will have...
No, but you are not saying this. Why did he run away? You are alleging that he was arrested.
You will have your say.
We have this parliament in December.
Honorable, you have your say.
Can see it.
No,
In fact,
judicial decision.
all stakeholders from Lungi, there was this...
Honorable Abdulkadir
in Lungi. Honorable, please continue.
Thank you very much, honorable. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, there are simple things that we need to get clear. The honorable member is raising defense for his councillor. But the question you will ask is, that is a councillor that was elected to represent the people of a particular ward. And Mr. Speaker, my question is, now that is according to him, my question is, did he resign? 1. Was he released by the local council? 2. 3. Was the police informed? Right? But Mr. Speaker, that aside, I want to continue this part of my debate, Mr. Speaker. Those are not questions for him to answer now, Mr. Speaker.
There is no need to raise this matter any further. The honorable member raised a point of order. I listened to his point of order, and he clarified it very clearly by saying the police investigated and exonerated the councillor in question.
No.
That being the case, proceed with other matters.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, I will now zoom into political stability. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, the lives of every Sierra Leonean in this country matters. And the life of every Sierra Leonean in this country must be protected. Mr. Speaker, the unfortunate issue that is happening not only in Sierra Leone but across the region is that some politicians use vulnerable people in order to score political goals. And in doing so, people do it with impunity, thinking that they are disturbing the government of the day. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, the question I want to raise here is, the youths are the futures of our tomorrow. And Mr. Speaker, if we continue as politicians to destroy the fabrics, which is the youth of this country, by using them as our political tools, Mr. Speaker, it will not be in the best interest of this country. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, during the ruling of the outgoing government, Mr. Speaker, the APC ruled this country for 11 good years in peace. They were not disturbed, neither interrupted, nor find political goals by the decent political party, the SLPP. We did not. We allowed them and we gave them enough time to rule this country. And Mr. Speaker, honorable members, over the years, you will observe that souls, innocent souls have been destroyed. And the innocent souls that have been destroyed are only Sierra Leoneans. And politicians use them to make political goals, to send a bad image about the government. My question is, among those that have died, which politician died amongst them? Or which politician child died amongst them? Or which politician's son died in the midst? But at the end of the day, the politicians will come out and stand and say, the lives of these people matters. But they were not there. They use them as tools to go and cause the mayhem in order to think that they are sending negative image about the government of the day, but they themselves will not be there. My message to the youth of this country is, don't allow yourself to be killed. Don't allow yourself to be killed because your life matters. These politicians that sent you to go on the front line to cause this mayhem are not there, and their sons are not there, their brothers are not there, they are all at home. But they sent you to go and kill yourself, and at the end of the day, your parents will lose. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, I want to rest, but let me zoom in. Let me zoom in into one more issue, and that's, I will refer you to page 14. Page 14, paragraph 63. Page 14, paragraph 63. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, during the tenure of the austerity government, the APC, they told us, Mr. Speaker, that they want to do an airport at the Mamama. Mr. Speaker, considering the economic boha, the economic destruction, the position that this country was under, and they want to use the taxpayers' money to build an airport at the Mamama, which was a residential area. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, in the wisdom of His Excellency, the President, Brigadier Julius Maada Bio, we are now having a brand new airport at Alunge. Mr. Speaker, I think he must be blessed.
Point of order, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, point of order. Mr. Speaker, I am taking exception to the honorable member misquoting the president.
The president spoke about a brand new terminal, not a brand new airport.
What is your
point? Want him to Mr.
What is your point of order?
That a brand new airport is different from a brand new airport.
What is the order?
A brand new terminal.
What is the order?
That's a brand new airport.
What are you standing on?
Mr. Speaker, honorable members, I think we must bless the vision of Blessed Bill. And we must thank His Excellency the President for all what he has done. And one more thing that is left for him to do, Mr. Speaker, honorable members, is to finally send the APC into everlasting opposition. Thank you very much, honorable members.
I thank the honorable member for his contribution to the debate. My next speaker is, and I'm sure a certain leader is going to be very happy now. I'm bracing myself for the standing orders before I call this next speaker on my list, because I know from experience what to expect. The Honorable from Falaba,